Hi, I'm Jack Finkelstein, and today we're going to be getting into how nonverbal communication relates to business. To begin off with, I wanted to get into what a business is and what business administration is. Business is the activity of making one's living or making money by producing or buying and selling products such as goods and services. Furthermore, business administration is also known as business management and is the administration of a commercial enterprise and includes aspects of overseeing and supervising business operations. Furthermore, I wanted to get into nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication includes all aspects of communication other than words. Nonverbal behavior is ambiguous. You can never be sure that others understand the meaning we intend to express with our nonverbal behavior. Nonverbal communication accounts for 65 to 93% of the total meaning of communication, as you can see in this pie chart, which also includes specifically gestures and body language, and includes how we utter words, inflection, volume, features of environments that affect meaning, temperature, lighting, and objects that affect personal images and interaction patterns, dress, furniture, which also includes shrugs, blushing, and eye movements. Furthermore, I wanted to get into human resource management. Human resource management is a division and corporation / business that is in charge of systems, policies, and practices that influence employees. Specifically, it's in charge of motivation, talent management, in-house company disputes, employee development, keeping companies sustainable, creating a healthy work environment, creating jobs and tasks. This is a lot of interaction with nonverbal communication and is critical in the work environment. Nonverbal communication and business communication. Now, there's a few things we need to know first, which is the different types of nonverbal communication that I'll be discussing. First, we got 3 categories, which number 1 is behavioral, which includes kinesics, which is face and body motion, oculesics, which is eye behavior, proxemics, which is personal space, haptics, which is touch. Next category, we get into contextual, which follows with physical appearance, chronemics, which is perception and use of time, environment, artifacts, which is personal objects, olfactics, which is smell, and vocal, which is our last category, which follows with paralanguage, which is vocal qualities. Now, the first article I wanted to get into was nonverbal behavior and communication in the workplace, a review and agenda for research. First off, I wanted to start off with a quote from the article, which is, in organizations, the importance of smell is seen in scent-free organizational policies or managers' dilemma of confronting a foul-smelling employee. Now, this is important because it just shows the importance of how smell can be incorporated in organizations in different ways. For one, as in the scent-free example, and then for example, in restaurants, smell is a big attraction for clients or customers. And then with certain industries that want to promote freshness, smell is a big attribute to that. So in the article, it kind of talks about the basic universal displays of emotion, which is happiness, sadness, fear, anger, disgust, and surprise, and kind of incorporates with how that is important in the business sense and work environment. Secondly, they get into specific codes or typology of codes, which is basically the different types of nonverbal communication. And lastly, they kind of conclude that nonverbal behaviors can positively influence a leader's visionary message and strengthen the influence of verbal communication delivery, and how a message delivered, regardless of its content, has a positive impact on listeners' perceptions and attitudes. So basically, it shows that all the different types of nonverbal communication can positively influence a leader's message and influence, which is extremely important in the business sense. For managers, owners. And these are the different, these are the 6 universal facial expressions. So my next article is measuring nonverbal bias through body language responses to stereotypes. Now, I had a quote from this article, or mainly the result, which was the results of the present study nevertheless implied that more implicit attitudes and beliefs, example stereotypes, can be reliably detected via nonverbal communication objectively measured in specific nonverbal behaviors, example body language. And this basically just says that in nonverbal communication, you can detect racial biases in individuals, and they found this out because they ran a study which analyzed individuals' nonverbal behaviors while they watched a video of a criminal suspect whose ethnic identity was manipulated to be either black or white. And based off the results, they had determined that through specific individuals' body language, they're able to detect their racial biases. And this is important in the business sense because employers or even HR employees can settle disputes or prevent disputes by being able to notice racial biases in nonverbal behaviors. Then getting into my next article, we got the effects of nonverbal communication of employees in the family restaurant upon customers' emotional responses and customer satisfaction. I had a quote from this article, which was customers think that employees should talk at a proper speed and in an articulate, gentle voice. This is important because in business, customer service is extremely important, and customers kind of come to a business or corporation with kind of an expectation of proper customer service. And in the article, they kind of talked about the effects of customers' perception of employees' nonverbal communications on the customer's emotional responses and satisfaction. This kind of got into the kinesics, proxemics, paralanguage, and physical appearance, and included how that could be important in customer service satisfaction. Now, the article also talked about how employees' kinesics and proxemics among nonverbal communication methods have a significant effect on customers' positive emotions, while employees' kinesics and paralanguage affects customers' negative emotion. So basically, if employees are using kinesics and proxemics, keeping their space, using proper facial expressions, it will have a positive outlook. And then with kinesics and paralanguage, you'll actually have a negative outlook. When employees serve customers in a nice and gentle way and keep a proper distance, customers experience favorable positive emotions. On the other hand, kinesics and paralanguage are viewed as factors that could lead customers to feel negative emotions. Now here I showed pictures of Chick-fil-A employees because they're known for great customer service and probably are great at kinesics and proxemics, nonverbal communication skills. And then getting into my next article is, can nonverbal cues be used to make meaningful personality attributions in employment interviews? I used a quote which was, all organizations constantly strive to enhance the validity of their selection process, and the interview is the most widely used selection device. I thought this was important because it kind of shows the importance of the interview process in a work environment or business environment, and how it's the main source for the selection process in many corporations and organizations. The article kind of talked about the understanding the relationships between nonverbal cues and interview performance ratings. and also showed the importance of eye contact for an interviewee with the interviewer while responding to the questions would seem more direct and honest. The author talked about an interviewee who smiles frequently and varies the pitch of his or her voice would likely be perceived as more extroverted or sociable. To continue, the article also explains how interviewers are always watching nonverbal behavior and making judgments based on them. And then the author concluded that interviewers can do a better job of focusing on job-related behavior and information in the interview by understanding nonverbal cues. And then the authors connect this to business by saying vocal nonverbal cues can help pick a proper managerial candidate, basically by showing strong confidence and posture, good posture. You can kind of give off a more managerial vibe to an employer, which could improve your chances of getting hired. Then getting into my last article, which is 10 things every manager should know about nonverbal behavior. This article kind of just talked about 10 things managers should or shouldn't do. And those topics were avoiding microaggressions, liking and valuing others, building trust, listening, resting cranky face, power, status, intelligence, deception, and how to leverage the wisdom of the crowd to better read others. They kind of believed in the article that managers lack a lot of the big problems with managers is that they lack the eye contact and smiles. Managers' nonverbal behavior has a profound impact on others and how others feel about themselves and how well workers and colleagues perform and whether or not managers' teams feel validated and included. This is important because if none of this is accomplished in the work environment, you can have low morale, which could lead to low production, which can continue on to many different events or problems. To conclude, nonverbal communication is important. Nonverbal communication has a huge impact on messages, and in a business sense, employers, managers can take advantage of nonverbal communication to create tactics and strategies to improve customer appeal and work environment. Racial biases can be detected from nonverbal behaviors and can just improve preparations for company disputes or bad hiring, etc. Next is understanding nonverbal behaviors can help and improve the interview process, as we talked earlier. And then lastly, managers should avoid microaggressions, like and value others, build trust, listen, shouldn't have a resting cranky face, should resemble strong power, status, intelligence, and shouldn't have deception, and should know how to leverage the wisdom of the crowd and to better read others. This is my bibliography. Thank you.